Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Wednesday edition of World Soccer Daily. And Jim and Amadeus here with you. Amadeus, yesterday was going on with regard to Italian clubs meeting, and it came pretty much to form from your standpoint.
Yeah, we definitely talked about how I thought Inter Milan was going to advance no matter what AC Milan did in that game, and sure enough,
Mm-hmm.
Inter even went out and won it 1-0. But there was a lot of good saves in that match. Just watching the first half, there probably should have been like 5 goals in the match, and just both goalies made came up big with some big saves and big moments when there's a few chances Milan had to cut the scoring, and then it came down the other way, and Inter had a few chances even to extend the score line early and couldn't do it. So definitely an interesting match. But Inter has booked their ticket to Istanbul and will now be waiting for the winner of today's match.
Which will be that probably City.
Yeah, I mean they're a really big favorite. They're minus 188, so you'd have to take them on the -1. That actually was minus 167 earlier in the week, right after the match. So money has definitely come in on City, but like I said yesterday, this is going to be a good watch, but it's tough to say who's going to go through. This could be one that goes all the way to penalties, and anything could happen in penalties. So. Definitely two. I would say these were probably the two better teams left in the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Like both Inter and AC Milan, I would say are 3 and 4 compared to these two. This is clearly, the final. Whoever wins this will probably go on to win the tournament. Sorry, Inter, but yeah, I don't know. Don't know how much of a chance they're going to have against either one of these teams in the finals.
Yeah, but at least we'll have a nice time in Greece. So from
Yeah,
that
yeah,
standpoint,
it'll be a nice,
nice
I
and
guess,
sunny and warm. You know,
it'll be an okay vacation for them, I guess. But
Oh, wait a minute, wait a minute. You did you say Istanbul or where?
yeah, Istanbul is where the
Okay,
finals are.
right. Well, that would be in Turkey. So that
Yeah.
so
So I mean,
miss miss that. Yeah,
Greece is close. They're there. It's
yeah,
just across the peninsula there or whatever it is.
yeah. A little bit of water, and they get there.
But
But yeah,
yeah, definitely, good old finals in the city that is both in Europe and Asia. So it'll be interesting.
there you go. Not only do you get in, insight, but you also get a geography lesson. All of that in one. So there you go.
Yeah, well,
Now,
there's two actually. There's two clubs that play in Istanbul. I believe it's the Fenerbahce Galatasaray matchup that they call it the Intercontinental Derby because one is on the European side of Istanbul and the other's on the Asian side.
wow, there you go. You learn something every day. How about we talked a bit about the NBA last night and the Lakers and the Nuggets. And the point when we spoke yesterday afternoon, it was a 6 point favorite from the Nuggets, and darn if that's how it ended up.
Yeah, the odds makers were bang on with that one. The Nuggets won by 6. Really, if you'd watched the game, you would think they would have won by a lot more. They were up big early in that game,
Hmm. Yep.
and a lot of people thought that the fatigue would settle in the second half of the Lakers, and that's when they would conk out. But it was more so they weren't ready for the game in the first half, and then when they finally got their legs under them in the second half, it was too late because that first half kind of put them out of the game. But
Hmm.
had they come out a little stronger in that first half, then yeah, maybe they would have had a chance to win that game for sure. They definitely made it a close one in the end.
Well, it was it was one of those games where we've talked about it ad nauseum. That is pretty much the fourth quarter was going to decide how that ended up, and they stayed true to form on that one.
Yeah, definitely.
It was not,
Yeah.
it was not something that we got a lot of surprises that we saw in the fourth quarter, but yeah, it was a good game, and so tonight it's Miami and Boston getting together, and then there's the hockey comes tomorrow. So we're getting into the crunch time here, and I don't know. I think Miami. I do believe, even though Boston has the superior talent, I don't know about you. I'm thinking Miami could do this in 6.
Yeah, the Heat have definitely been one of the hotter teams in the NBA over the second half of the season. They were dealing with a lot of injuries at the beginning of the year, but they got their crap together around the end of the season, and they've just been rolling through the playoffs since. So they're a very good team. The Celtics, they've struggled. They had to take the 76ers to 7 games. They were trailing 3-2, facing elimination in 2 of those games, and the Hawks took them to 6 games, which really that should have been a series that they swept. So yeah, I don't know about this Celtics team, but every time I look at the spread, it opened around like a 7 or something like that, and now it's gotten up all the way up to 8.5. So every time I look at it, it just keeps creeping up and up for the Celtics.
Wow. I mean, I don't know how you could watch those two teams and not say that they're almost evenly matched because of what they do, and I don't know. I mean, it, I I understand that Boston can be the favorite, that I get, but making them a prohibitive type favorite doesn't make any sense.
Well, the Heat, the Heat definitely play defense. They're one of the few teams in the NBA that plays defense, and they do it very well. So whenever whenever you play defense the way the Heat do, you're always going to give yourself a chance to win the game.
True, and I don't know. I think, as I said, I think that they'll get it in 6. The From the standpoint of the hockey, do you have any feel for those for what we're going to see here this starting tomorrow?
Well, at the beginning of of the playoffs, I said that I thought the Leafs or the Hurricanes would make it to the finals, and so far the Hurricanes are still left, and they probably look like the strongest team left in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it, and they've been sniffing at this for a while, and you got to think that if it's going to happen, this is going to be the time that they can get it.
Yeah, so the Hurricanes, they're definitely a team with playoff experience, as you said. They've kind of been sniffing around. They make it to the conference finals or they get kicked out in the second round, but they've consistently been getting past the first round of the playoffs for the last few years now, and they've had some sweeps in there too. They also are a very strong team at home in the playoffs. They only have 2 losses at home over the last 2 seasons in the playoffs. So this Hurricanes team, they know how to use their home advantage, and as well as the Panthers have been playing, they really they beat the Leafs in 5. They came back and won 3 straight after being down 3-1 against the best hockey team to ever play a regular season in the NHL. But that was a difficult series with the Bruins. It was a very physical series. They knew they had to be very physical to win it. They had to beat the Bruins at their own game there because they weren't going to beat them defensively. So they really played a physical 7 games there. And then, they went out and they carried that physicality over into the Leafs series. But despite the fact they won that series in 5 games, they were outplayed in every single game. And the Hurricanes have a much better defense, and they're a very fast team. And the Panthers can come out and try to play the same physical hockey they've been playing, but they're going to be tired. Those first 2 series they played are going to start to wear down on them, and they're going to get out. They're going to get outskated by this Hurricanes team for sure. They are just way faster. The Panthers will be lucky if they can score goals in this series.
Well, the speed that they have is one thing. The other thing that they have is that I think that Florida's got some pretty inconsistent goalkeeping. And being a former goalie yourself, you would know. But it just seems to me that they don't have the hot hand all the time. And if you're going to play and win in the NHL, you need the goalie to be the guy when you hit the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, they've had a defensive problem, and this has been a problem. It was a problem when they were the President's Trophy winner last year. They scored so many goals, but they also gave up a ton of goals. And their defense, their defense and their goaltending, it's just not there. And that's something that I value a lot when making deep runs into the playoffs. But at the same time, this Panthers team, like I said, they had those two series they're going to wear down on them now, the really physical series. And really, they got outplayed by the Leafs. The Leafs more so had a scoring issue. They couldn't really score goals in that series, and that's why the Panthers were able to squeak through. But if you look at their series against Boston, they were not able to beat the Bruins unless they scored like 6-7 goals in the game. So that's not going to happen on the Hurricanes. They have a much better defense. They're not going to be able to score at will like that. And you're going to see. I could see the Hurricanes sweeping the Florida Panthers in this series.
Well, Florida has, like you said, they've been good enough to get to the playoffs, but Carolina has been consistently there. I just think that sometimes it's a team's year, right? And the way the makeup of this Carolina team is, to me, I don't know. I think that they right now are probably the best team in hockey.
Yep, and not to mention, their coach Rod Brindamore, he's won the cup with the Hurricanes back in 2006. So, not only does the coach have that experience of what it takes to win the cup, he did it with the team he's coaching. So, that's going to carry through the locker room. And they have two really good goalies in Ranta and Frederick Anderson. So they're going to be fine. They're going to be very fine. I would love to see the Hurricanes and the Stars in the final. Because then I would know at least some of my Sharks will win some.
Yeah, they'll get their ring and their Stanley Cup. The thing that I was going to ask you, because being a former goalie, what are some of the pitfalls and problems, especially in the playoffs? Because it seems to me that there are more fluky goals scored in the playoffs than probably any time during the course of the season.
Yeah, a lot of it could just be nerves. It all really depends. So you have that, obviously, that situation if you haven't really played in many playoff games, you're going to be nervous, and it's always going to be rough until you make those first few saves and get into your groove. Mm-hmm. One problem we saw with Linus Ullmark on the Boston Bruins was a few of those games that they lost, he gave up a lot of goals and did not get many shots. And I think when you're on a team like the Bruins that were so dominant throughout the regular season and their defense was so good, like never mind giving up goals, you don't really even get a lot of shots during the game. You get lured into a false sense of security. Like we saw that one overtime win that the Panthers had against them. That was solely, I'll say it as a goalie, you never want to blame the goalie for a loss because it's always a team effort. It's usually never the goalie's fault, but this one it was Ullmark's fault. He faced like 20 shots throughout the whole 60 minutes of the game, got no action. Then you get overconfident, you go out to play the puck and you make a stupid mistake, and Florida capitalizes on it and extends the series. So that's definitely something that I think can come into play too. If the goalie's not getting enough action early on in a game, blocking shots and great defense is great, but the goalie has to get into a rhythm too. And if they don't get a lot of shots or early action, you sometimes see these goalies, we're in the halfway through the game and they've gotten 7 shots all game. And then, they give up a fluky goal because they haven't really been tested a lot.
To your point on that, I don't know if you remember Oleg Kozig, who used to be with the Capitals.
Yeah, I do remember.
Yeah, and I spoke to him and spoke to a number of guys who played keeper in that regard, and they almost to a person said that they're that they loved. Obviously it's good to have defense, no question about it. But they said they'd like, especially into the playoffs. They said they'd like in the playoffs. They'd like to get at least three or four of those. Oh my God, that almost went in type situations, right? So you get to that point you're talking about where you're looking for something, right? You're like, okay, wait a minute. I've seen this party before. They're coming at me, and I'm pretty sure where they're headed. Either top shelf or go to the 5 hole, whatever. But you know, uh, they're definitely thinking that, you know what, I want to see that, not a lot, but enough to make sure that that I don't make the mistake of exactly what you're talking about, where there's a complacency or oh crap, I saw that on film, but it's too late now, because it's in the back of the net. So, the other thing too, and this I didn't realize this much, but as the playoffs go deeper, um, I've been told by
Where'd you go? It's more just dealing with some technical difficulties here.
okay, there we go.
All right.
My fault. Um, it's yeah, a little bit of a tech ish, but anyway, no, we were just talking about it. I just said that a lot of people who part of the problem, well, they've said, is ice, because it this time of the year it gets a little warmer, the ice gets a little bit more flaky, and all of a sudden you hit a divot or something, and the puck goes in a totally separate direction.
Definitely, and it's a big problem in southern cities too. Like I know the ice quality
Hmm.
is always bad in Florida because of the humidity. It's hard to really keep
Hmm.
the ice cool. They have their chillers working overtime, so it's really, yeah, definitely ice consistency is the thing. If you're a team like Toronto, who you come from a cold city and you play on great ice quality because hockey is the sport in Canada, and then you go down to Florida, play on an ice rink that's not maintained well in a very hot environment where it's going to be more slushy, and yeah, absolutely, the ice melts faster. Sometimes not even divots. Sometimes it can just stop and get caught in snow or slush, because as they skate and create snow, it kind of, as the ice is melting too, so it mixes with the water and creates almost like a slushiness. And I've even played in it before, right? Just on the backyard rink. That's stuff.
Hmm.
That's things you encounter just playing on the backyard rink. So definitely, yeah, and sometimes you get weird bounces. It all depends on the arena too. They're supposed to freeze the puck before playing too, because it is
Right.
rubber, and that's supposed to make it bounce less. But sometimes you get a really bouncy puck. Maybe that one wasn't frozen properly, so these things happen.
That part I hadn't heard before. That's kind of cool. I mean, I didn't really didn't think of that. That if the puck wasn't frozen, it wouldn't travel as far, or in some cases it wouldn't. It might even stick.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, and you might have to double check that, but I'm pretty confident that all pucks have to be frozen before NHL games,
Yeah,
and
they're in an ice puck.
yeah, and it's to reduce the bounciness. I think is the main
Hmm.
part, the bounciness of it, so you don't get like someone takes a shot, bounces off the boards, and hits you in the face.
Right. It's like, where'd that come from? Yeah,
Yeah, it's like playing with a bouncy ball on the ice. We don't want that. So
the old Super Bowl. Yeah, it's crazy. And now, from the standpoint, you had mentioned something which I've heard different accounts on, and that has to do with you're talking about the snow part of the ice, right? I've seen some goalkeepers who've actually kind of used their stick and built a little snow, area around the goal. Is that a good idea or not?
Absolutely. Actually, it's the first thing you'll notice when the players come onto the ice. The goalie, right after the Zamboni comes on, the first thing the goalie does is they go to the crease and they're stopping in space trying to create snow because it's honestly sometimes the puck slides in the water a bit more on a freshly Zamboni
Hmm.
ice, and you don't want it going around in the crease. If your crease is really filled more with snow, then I've had it
Hmm.
happen where someone taps a puck and it goes like 2 inches and just stops in the crease, and now all of a sudden you have a second to collect yourself and jump on it. Whereas if it's freshly
Hmm.
Zamboni, then that might slide right across the line and into the net. But yeah, that was something I hated coming onto the ice right after the Zamboni. I always preferred the ice to not be flooded.
Well, that's a good thing. But I mean, that's kind of a fun little trick. It's like, okay, here's the deal, boys and girls. You know, make certain that we don't have that problem.
Yeah, we're always trying to think of things like that. Like I remember one move I stole from a goalie one time was when I was getting pulled, I left my stick across the line from post to post,
Hmm.
and then when the other team cleared it down the ice, it was going to go in, and my stick stopped it, and the defender came and cleared it, and then the
That's
ref
funny.
cleared. Yeah, the ref cleared my stick away, but it made the save. So
Well, there you go, and it counts. It's your stick.
yep, yep, just left it in the
So
net.
there you go. Just left it there. No problem. Just
Just to
leave it alone.
prevent that clear down the ice. All right, if you want to score the empty netter, you got to get in close, put some air on it.
Right. Smack it hard. Yes.
Yeah, none of this pass it into the net.
From their standpoint, one more goalie question. What's the worst situation? Like a puck bouncing off of somebody's skate, or, I mean, there's some wacky ways that somebody can make a shot and, and misdirect the puck in a direction that from your line of sight you see it, and then all of a sudden it's gone.
Yeah, over blocking shots is definitely a thing. I know you want to block shots and play good defense, but playing good defense doesn't always mean trying to put your body down on the line and block anything you can, because sometimes when you have like three defenders in front of you trying to block a shot from the point, never mind the deflection part of it, that's a huge issue too. But yeah, you can't even see the player taking the shot, so by the time you even know the shot's on your way, it's usually right in front of you or passing you on its way into the net before you even realize it. So definitely, over blocking is definitely an issue because it leads to more screening. The more bodies you have in front of the goalie, the harder vision they're going to have on the puck.
Despite the fact that the guys are there to try to stop the puck. So okay, cool.
Sorry, what was that?
No, I was just saying, besides the fact that you've got all those bodies attempting to stop the puck, they can cause grief for the keeper because, you know, those are all different types of bodies that the puck can bounce off of and end up in the back of the net.
Yeah, there's the two issues. One is I can't see the shot coming or even know quite when the shot was taken, so
Right.
my reaction is going to be late or delayed. And then yeah, there's the issue you mentioned where all those bodies also creates more opportunity for deflection. So maybe I do see it late and I'm a little late to react and I go to stop it, but then a late stick causes it to go over my glove and in the net. So absolutely.
I saw one game where there was it was the Rangers and the Capitals in a playoff a few years back, where um, the Braden Holtby had stood on his head all night long, and then with with less than 2 seconds left, he had a thing where he couldn't get his skate over to stop the puck, and he got it there just a bit late, and he literally knocked it in the goal himself with 0.5 seconds left to go on the clock. And I mean, what a night! I mean, the guy stops everything in sight, and then the one goal that gets by him is a goal that just he accidentally kicks it into the goal. So it's one of those holy mackerel. Um, you know, it's just funny things happen this time of year, and also players we don't expect to do well, pop up. So there's a lot of intrigue and storylines. You never have to worry about that in the hockey playoffs.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, as you said, you'll get the player you've never heard of scoring all the goals, and then the one you expected to carry the team. It's like, where the hell did you go? Did you start golfing early?
Yeah, yeah, clearly. What was I going to say? Yeah. Speaking of, so let's downshift to baseball, and Justin Verlander made his debut last night again in the Met with the Mets, and he had a tough time. And
Was it his home debut?
yeah,
Okay.
and tough times, and the Mets fans actually booed him, and I'm like, what? It's like, what? This is Justin Verlander, for heaven's sake. I mean, come on, give him a chance. He had a tough time. Things happen.
Yeah, well,
But
the Rays are the best team in baseball, and they showed it again. They were juicy, like plus 140 yesterday. So got a lot of that. Was one of my baseball plays. We went 2-1.
oh, okay, yeah, that was one of those. I'm not so sure that these people know what the heck they're talking about. It's like, since when do you have? For gosh sake.
Sorry, you cut out a bit.
Yeah, I just said that sometimes you wonder what the fans are thinking, because you're like, wait a minute, you're booing a guy who came to you on a discount because he wanted to be with Scherzer again, and now you're booing him off the field, and you're like, I'm like, Mets fans have a right to boo? I mean, really, seriously? That's new on me.
Yeah, that's just that's the classic New York crowd. But as you said, you got to give the guy a chance. He injured himself at the beginning of the season. It's only his
Right.
third start of the year, his first one at home. So
Mm-hmm.
you want to go and welcome him with booze. I mean, show a little class, New York. Come on.
Well, yeah, and that's not an easy thing to do for New Yorkers.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I know that's asking for too much.
So, the moment it left your mouth, I'm sure you're sitting there going, "Oh man, I know that I'm asking for way too much." But you do have to wonder. It's like, come on, guys. It's like, and so of course in the post game, they're talking to him. He goes, look, he says, I had a tough time. He goes, things happen. He goes, but we're going to get better. And so it's like, okay, well, that's good. Good to hear. And if they'd have scored 9 runs last night, they'd have won. So you can put it on anybody if you want to, but don't put on just Verlander. He gave up some runs, but they were able to get out of it. But so yeah, interesting, fun stuff at the ball yard last night. There were a couple of crazy games, but at the end of the day, I think Verlander did a very good job of handling what wasn't, professionally. It was a typical New York press thing, like, hey, what are you gonna, what have you done for us lately? And it's like, okay,
I just got here.
What's that?
What have you done for us lately? I just got here.
Right, exactly. Perhaps here, read the back of my baseball card. I'll see you in a couple of minutes. It's like, it's like, geez,
Talk to me at the end of the season.
Yeah, don't get me now, get me later.
Yeah, when I've actually pitched in 30 games and not just the 3.
Yeah, the 4 or 5 innings that I was involved in. It's like, really, you're gonna go there? Okay. I don't think that's a wise choice, but hey, nobody asked me. Yeah, I mean it's one of those things where you just want to grab them by the head and go, stop this, just stop. You're the Mets. These are things that people who are Mets fans are used to. They're used to disappointment. Deal with it. So funny stuff, but I'm sure that if there's anybody who's going to have the last laugh, it's going to be Justin Verlander.
Oh yeah.
And even if he doesn't pitch again for them, he'll still have the last laugh on them. So there you go. So what's on the agenda today for you for tonight?
Yeah, I'm just gonna watch this big Champions League semifinal, and that'll be the night probably. Honestly not a big sports night for any sport. Don't really love the card.
Yep, we mentioned that it really doesn't really kick off until tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then then we got a shot at some stuff, but right now, not so much. It'll get better. It will get better. All right. Any final words before we get out of here?
Go watch the Man City Real Madrid match because it's gonna be a damn good one.
Good. All right. Well, there you go. CBS gets a plug. All right. We'll see you.
It wasn't even on CBS for me yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Maybe go to the streaming service to get it.
Oh boy. All right. Well, hey, stop it, guys. All right. Take care. For Amadeus, I'm Jim. We'll see you. Take care. Bye-bye.